All right, we're taking a look at this boudoir photography business today. We're going to see if we got BSS for either of these two Google searches. So we're back here in the GBC universe. Where we're taking declining boudoir photographers to the #1 boudoir photographer in their city, utilizing our North Star as always is FSIC, full spectrum intent capture. And this is our North Star because it explains why all boudoir photographers either rise or fall. So we got our intent spectrum here in white, and we got way on the left, we got the highest intent people, the Google searchers, the social media searchers. These people that are looking for a boudoir photo shoot in their city right now. Highest intent people, closest to the money, highest conversion rate. And over on the right, we got the lowest intent people. These are, reaching by interruption ads, Facebook, Instagram. People ain't looking for boudoir right now. Most of them don't even know what the heck boudoir is. So that's our sister brand, FB Ad Doctor. Talk about BLCS over there, different profiles. And these are we currently over there only work with boudoir photographers running more than 10 grand a month in boudoir Facebook ads. But here we talk about BSS. We're gonna dive into it right now. So BSS is boudoir search sameness. That's when a boudoir photographer has either 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google. And when a boudoir photographer's got 0 slots, well, they're on page 2 or deeper, and that's extra bad. And that's because we know that approximately 80% of Google searches never even hit page 2. They're page 1 and done. And so that's what we care about. We care about the approximately 80% of Google searchers because they're the bulk of the market. We don't care about the remaining 20%. Let's focus on the approximately 80%. So we're on page 2 or deeper, we're invisible to all of them. 1 slot on page 1 Google, also not good enough. Still basically invisible, simply because we look the same as everyone else. And if we got 1 slot on page 1 of Google, well, there's 10 slots. And as a result, it's probably going to be 9 other boudoir photographers, 1 link for each. And so, a buyer, what they're going to be doing is just, clicking, going down, clicking everyone's link and, price shopping everyone and basically contacting everyone, jamming down the price, jamming down the what a seller can get. And it's become super, super cutthroat. So we never want to be at 0 or 1. We call that boudoir search sameness. And 0 or 1 slots on page 1 Google is not normal. Extremely common, extremely accepted, but not normal. It's actually a symptom of 2 deeper root causes. The first deeper root cause, market saturation. Someone get a new iPhone, then they throw up on Google Maps that they do boudoir photography, and they got a website that's starting to rank page 1 on, or competing to rank page 1 on Google. Or someone gets a new camera, they start posting in the mom groups that they shoot boudoir now. So this market saturation, basically everyone knows about this. A big kind of tsunami happened during COVID. People couldn't work, lost their jobs. They still need to earn money. Everyone's got a smartphone. Everyone's got an awesome camera. So a lot of boudoir photographers entered the market. Makes it harder for every other seller, every other boudoir photographer in that market, because it's the same sellers or more sellers for the same number of buyers. So it gets harder and harder for each seller. Now, this new one that very few people know about is the false belief of page 1 equality. That is that's the second deeper root cause for why people only have 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google. And that's because it's simply kind of automatically accepting or agreeing with, or maybe not even thinking about if it's true or false, but kind of an auto assumption that each boudoir photographer gets either 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google. And if you're on page 1, you had your 1 slot with your website, and market gets a little bit more saturated, you get kicked down to page 2. Well, that's simply how it is. You win some, you lose some. And you kind of got to simply wait for someone to delete their boudoir photography website to actually increase, or actually hopefully move back up onto page 1. So that's a false belief, and I know that because I went from 0 out of 10 slots page 1 on Google to 9 out of 10 slots page 1 on Google in only 10 days. So I know Google will actually give us as many page 1 slots as we want to put in the effort to acquire. Best part is, requires no Google ads, which at max will give you 1 PPC slot somewhere on the page, even if there's other available inventory open. And their momentum dies when you stop spending. So there, and you got to test and figure out all these things to get them to work, constant checking. Way too much maintenance for, not enough outcome there. Next, we know that boudoir photographer with BSS is a disappearing boudoir photographer, because if they're on page 2 or deeper, or if they're on page 1 but 1 slot essentially invincible, then they disappeared from essentially like 80% of searchers, which means the boudoir photography business itself is on the path to disappearing as well. And we don't want that to happen. So we got our micro universe here. Disappearing boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness. It's caused by market saturation and the false belief of page one equality. Thankfully, though, we now have a solution because we know that BSS is treated with social search saturation, aka executed methodology. And we know that because we invented it, we've used it. We've gone from, again, 0 out of 10 slots on page one Google search to 9 out of 10 slots page one Google search in only 10 days. And it works exactly as it says, social search saturation. We're going to saturate the highest intent keywords on social search. And as a result of that, well, when we do that, it's kind of like small streams and rivers on the backside of the Andes Mountains down in South America. When we successfully have those eventually flow down into the large Amazon River. They all merge. And likewise, in our scenario, all our social search saturation eventually flows down and merges onto Google page one, Google search, those 10 organic slots. And Google will give us as many as we put in the effort to acquire. And also, SQ methodology is the only thing I've seen that actually, for boudoir photographers, that is able to successfully fight back against market saturation. So, maintain the business and actually still grow in spite of market saturation. So still get bigger. And happen relatively quickly, get results shown up relatively quickly. The only other thing I've seen that can fight back against market saturation and still allow the business to grow in spite of market saturation is brand. Having a well-known, massive brand. Dude, that takes 5 to 10 years. We ain't got that time. SQ methodology works relatively way faster than that. And AI is taking people's jobs, taking people's opportunities. We ain't got 5 to 10 years to build a brand. With SQ methodology, if let's say there's a million boudoir photographers in Knoxville, Tennessee, and we're one of them, and everyone's got their own boudoir photography website, competing to rank page one Google search, then what's going to happen is we need to try a new strategy to actually outcompete everyone else. So take SQ methodology, we crank it up to the max, and let's say we take the first 300 slots on social search for all the highest intent boudoir buyer keywords, and we actually, that saturation actually flows onto Google page one, and we actually get the first 300 slots Google to ourselves. What actually happens is it's 10 organic Google slots per page, and as a result, we got the first 30 pages all to ourselves, and the final one is page 31. That's essentially our competitors first start showing up for organic search. So boudoir buyers basically never find them. So whose business is growing when we got ultra market saturation, a million boudoir photographers? But where the first 300 slots anywhere boudoir buyer looks. Obviously, our business is still growing. Everyone else's business is disappearing, dying off. It's because SQ methodology is the only thing that enables that without having a brand, and it actually speeds up the process of acquiring a brand. My estimation is probably 8x faster. It's because we're seen on so many more surfaces so much more frequently. Next, once we treat with SQ methodology, we have page one visibility. And an initial benefit of this, and a second benefit utilizing SQ methodology, is every new slot we take, page one of Google, we're actually kicking competing boudoir photographers off page one, effectively making them invisible. So that's a second benefit. That's another initial benefit of utilizing SQ methodology, is we're getting more kicking more people off page one. We already know approximately 80% of Google searches never even hit page two, so we're making our competitors invisible to approximately 80% of the searchers out there. Awesome. And boudoir and page one visibility activates boudoir search visibility for us. This is where we want to hit our recommended 3 out of 10 page one slots on Google, because that's the GBC recommended minimum. And that's because if we got 3 slots, basically everyone else will have 1 slot, we'll look way better than them. Way higher chance buyers, click on us and don't even click on our competitors because they're like, wow, why does Google recommend this person 3 times? That's the 3rd person I've seen them now on this page. They may not even click on any of our competitors. And in the very rare case, another boudoir photographer competitor has 2 slots, then we're still dominating them as well. We got it because we got 3. So that's why we got the GBC recommended minimum of 3. And a boudoir photographer with the BSV boudoir search visibility is a visible boudoir photographer, a VBP. So this is our micro universe. Got a disappearing boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness caused by the dual horns of market saturation and page one equality. And we now have a solution, SQ'd methodology. We achieve page one visibility. We become a visible boudoir photographer with boudoir search visibility. Next, my results. So my results, I want to rank for the keyword BLCS boudoir. Okay, I'm going to utilize my SQ'd methodology to achieve that. And after 10 days, these are my results. So page one, This is Google organic page 1, or the organic slots here for organic search. Slot 1, me. Slot 2, me. Slot 3, me. Slot 4, me. Slot 5, me. Slot 6, me. Slot 7, me. Slot 8, me. And slot 10, me. So in 10 days, I went from 0 out of 10 slots page 1 on Google to 9 out of 10 slots page 1 on Google, all by purely using S-cubed methodology. So now into the main course here. We want to see if this boudoir photography business has BSS, boudoir search sameness for these two Google searches. So all right, we're going back here. So first we're looking at boudoir photographer in Middletown, Delaware. So let's see. So I'm going to go to the organics. So here we go. Boom, they got 1. Boom, they got 2. Boom, they got 3. Boom, they got 4. I believe this he has them as well. Yep, boom, they got 5. And okay, I believe this is them as well. They got 6. Boom, they got 7. I don't think that's. Hold on, did I miss one? 1, 2, 3, 4. That's sponsored. They got 5. They got 6. They got 7. They got 8. They do not have 9. They got 10. All right, so this is what we want to shoot for. Well, we want to hit the GBC minimum of 3 out of 10, but we got 9 out of 10 here. This is perfect. Someone's searching this. Who are they going with? Who are they going with? There's only 2 options in the organic searches. And I got, number 9 here, Elevate Creative Studio. So this is perfect. Wonder how much more work we need to do to get a 10 out of 10. But all right, so we definitely do not have BSS for this one. So we don't have BSS for that. Let's see the larger city though. So local, 9 out of 10, fantastic. We do not have BSS. Now we're going for kind of the largest city nearby. So that'd be Wilmington, Delaware. All right, so let's see. Boom, we got 1. So we got 1. We got 1 out of 10, dude. We got BSS. We got BSS for the city. For the city search. So we got local search and city search we look at. We definitely got BSS. Here we got 1 out of 10. And this is exactly what S-cubed methodology was built to solve. So going back. So first search does not have BSS. First search was amazing, 9 out of 10. Second search, we got 1 out of 10. We got BSS. We got 0 1 slots on page 1 of Google. We got to hit the GBC minimum of 3 out of 10. That's our goal. So if you're a boudoir photographer, a disappearing boudoir photographer, which means you've done local search for the highest intent keywords in your local area for that boudoir buyers will be searching, and you've done the highest intent keywords for your city or close to city for highest intent keywords boudoir buyers will be buying, and you either have BSS for one or both, boudoir search sameness, or you do not meet the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 page 1 slots on Google for either one or both. And you're seeing, you're liking the initial benefits of S-cubed methodology. You decide this is the one path, the one solution forward for you. Because you want more slots page 1 on Google, and you definitely want to catch your competitors page 1 on Google, kick them to page 2, where now we know approximately 80% of Google searches never even make it to page 2. So the bulk of the market will never even find your competitors through organic search. And, you want to use S-cubed methodology because now you understand that the false belief of page 1 equality is exactly that, a false belief, and Google actually wants to give as many page 1 slots as possible to those who want to put in the effort to take them. And now we realize we got a methodology, a solution to take them with S-cubed methodology. And you understand the market saturation, new phone, new gear, bringing new boudoir photographers in. But you also are looking ahead and you're seeing that, hey, you actually need to fortify your business, and you decide you're going to fortify your business against the future boudoir photographers that come in, not only from the new iPhone and the new camera, but also the much larger share. The larger share is actually going to be more people losing their jobs to AI, and they still got to earn money, they still got to pay their expenses, and everyone's got a great camera attached to their iPhone already. So there's going to be way more boudoir photographers coming into the market because of AI, and you actually want to give yourself, fortification in preparation of those boudoir photographers coming into the market, kind of like the levees in New Orleans. They built up the sandbag levees because New Orleans is actually below sea level. So you actually want to build up that fortification in preparation for the future boudoir photographers entering the market, which is going to be more and more over time. So you already decided you're going to prepare for that, and you realized, hey, paying for Facebook ads ain't doing that. That's on Facebook. Paying for Google ads ain't doing that because that's only one slot on Google. The only option that gives you multiple slots um, is SQ'd methodology for boudoir photographers. And so you realize you need this solution. You want the initial benefits. You want the pre-fortification benefits because you need to achieve page one visibility to become a visible boudoir photographer and have boudoir search visibility because you need those things in order to become the number one boudoir photographer in your city. And you also like the back-end benefits as well, which we've not talked about yet, but you actually understand already, which is every day we execute SQ methodology correctly, we are actually increasing and building up these invisible thematic keyword columns attached to our business, or spokes, hub and spoke. It's attached into our business name, our brand name, our social accounts. And what this is doing, this is building up massive momentum and mind share in the back end of these AI systems. So every day we successfully execute S-Cube's methodology together, we're actually increasing the probability you get recommended here, AI overview, premium placement, the one top slot for a search in your city for a boudoir photographer, as well as increasing the probability that regular AI searches actually give you, actually feature you as well, as be ChatGPT search, Claude search, Perplexity, Microsoft Copilot, Google Gemini. Standard Google search still about 90% of searches globally, but dude, AI search is growing every day. I haven't done normal Google search probably in like a year to actually like read and learn stuff from a website. I just do the AI mode on Google. And last time I searched for boudoir photographer was in I remember it gave me 3 options, but I actually went on my own and looked like Google standard search, and there were about 60 options. So, dude, AI search can be more and more. SQL methodology gives us higher chances of showing up AI overview at the top and all AI search. And you also recognize the final kind of extra benefit of using SQL methodology since you've decided to be the first mover in your city, you can make all this progress, build up all these initial benefits and the momentum for the future benefits, kind of the invisible AI mindshare for your business ahead of all your competitors, because right now my plan is to only work with one boudoir photographer per city on this. And so as a result, you actually, every day we successfully execute SQ'd methodology together. We are building up, got initial benefits initially happening very fast, and kind of the long-term benefits, the invisible benefits for AI overview recommendation, AI search recommendation. Every day we're putting a bigger and bigger gap between your current competitors and the future competitors coming from AI stealing people's jobs and people becoming boudoir photographers because they need to earn money. We're building up this momentum where basically no one, when we execute on this, no one's going to be able to catch up to us. Because conversely, if someone else in your city went with me first, you would have to rederive or derive for the first time the correct way to do S-cubed methodology, and you would never actually be confident you've derived the correct way to do it. Never be 100% confident, and then you'd have to go equal our execution with me and your competitor. But we've already been doing it long before you, so we've already built up a massive gap between them and you with all the initial benefits and the future benefits, momentum with AI mindshare. So you'd have to then execute the same amount of us every day. And then if you did that, you'd simply maintain the gap that me and your competitor have already made of us being ahead of you. So you'd have to actually double or triple our execution to pull that AI mindshare, those invisible thematic keyword columns away from the competitor's brand, competitor's name in your same city for the AI mindshare in the back end. Pull that back towards yourself. And like, dude, who's got time for that? I mean, how are you gonna outcompete the person that invented SQ methodology, me? So you decided screw that. You decided, okay, you're gonna be the first mover because you want to be the number one boudoir photographer in your city. So if that's you, shoot me a DM when my DM's open. The hospital is not currently open for new patients. When I do open for new patients, I watch these videos. I'll put out a notice, and yeah, shoot a DM then, and we'll see if you qualify for using S cubed methodology.